Finding the correct angle of the arm on the string is the first step to getting a good sound. If you don't have the right arm angle, then you risk playing on the wrong part of the string, which could prevent you from getting the sound that you want and could also cause things like squeaks and scratches. So in this video, we'll talk about how to find the right arm angle for you and also how your arm should be changing as you move the bow back and forth across the string. The actual angle of your arm when you're using the bow can vary. So I'll show you what I do first and then give you a couple other options for what you can do. So when I put my bow on the string, my arm is at a very wide angle. This is usually about where I keep it. Essentially, you should be able to keep the bow on the string a little bit below the end of the fingerboard, maybe about an inch or so. And when you do this, you shouldn't have to lean over or distort your body in any kind of way to do that. Now this is going to depend on the height that you keep your bass. Some people keep their basses a lot higher than mine, and so that arm angle is going to be a little bit sharper than what mine is. And some people keep their basses a lot lower, and for that reason, they play with almost a completely straight arm. And that's okay if you want to do that, but if you do this, just make sure your elbow isn't locked. You want your arm to be relaxed enough to where there's a slight bend in the arm. So again, the key points here are that you want to keep your bow about an inch or so below the end of the fingerboard, and you shouldn't have to lean over or distort your body to do that. The angle of our arm is going to change as we move the bow back and forth across the string. And naturally, our arm wants to move in a pendulum kind of motion. So out and up, and then in and up. But we have to fight that motion because doing a pendulum motion prevents us from staying on the same part of the string and in turn prevents us from getting the best sound. So instead, we have to fight that by doing an out and down motion on the end of the stroke and then an in and down motion on the up bow. So to practice this, if you can get in front of a mirror to do this, that would be best. You want to pull the bow in a down bow, and then about halfway through, you want to start extending with the forearm down towards the floor. Again, this is what it looks like. And then the up bow, you're going to push and really use the wrist here to push the stick, and then angle it down towards the floor in about the second half of the bow. This is what that looks like. So this is what it looks like put together. So it's a very subtle motion. You're going to feel it a lot more than you're going to see it when you're looking in the mirror. But you want to angle down to the floor rather than letting your arm go naturally up, because again, that's what's going to keep you on the same part of the string and it's going to help you get the best sound that you want. So what we talked about here was the angle of the arm when you immediately put the bow on the string and how that angle changes as you move the bow back and forth. To practice these techniques we talked about, I would look at the long tones in the PDF packet that we have provided for you. And when you're practicing this, make sure you look in front of a mirror so you can really see what your arm is doing. It looks completely different in front of a mirror than it does behind the bass.